Well, greetings. This is interesting because it's the second time I'm doing this. I'm coming back from a call, a long drive. I probably have 30 minutes plus left. Should be enough to do what I want to do here. But I started this video on the way up there. I actually completed it, I thought. And when I went to play it back, it wasn't there. So by some means, doesn't matter what, the universe did not want that video going out today. And I believe that because it was pretty strong. It's just interesting to see. I call it divine tethering. God. You know, I'm on a mission, but there's all kinds of things that are kind of keeping me kind of on track, especially here at this beginning stage where everything that's potentially new has all the energy associated with that, and pick a direction. Well, that's, you know, where all people, maybe arguably that's where we all are. It's more apparent when someone is going through something like I am, where you have tragedy in your life, and that impacts the way your life will be if you continue on. So, you know, you got to deal with it. So, what did I want to talk about today? I've been watching television, and I watch it late, so you get a lot of advertisements aimed at old people. Some of them are pretty good too. I'm seriously thinking about getting one of those chairs that lifts you up and leans back and all the rest of those things, because I'm contemplating a dual knee surgery, and I'm not going to be able to get around, and a chair with that much stuff on it, especially the lifting feature, might be beneficial. But I'm at least a couple months away from that, so I'm not going to worry about it. But like I say, I'm now becoming aware, making myself softly aware of things that are available and aimed at old people. And some of them I really appreciate. I kind of understand all of them. But I'm really offended by these minimum function cell phones that they push on you old shits, on the premise that you're just not smart enough to operate a smartphone. And while I know that that is painted as a wonderful gift to you, it is in fact a slap in the fucking face, and a thing that deprives you of incredible amounts of personal power and the ability to affect what's going on in the world. So this tape is going to old guys, men and women, okay? So, you know, I'm not blowing shit out of my ass. I'm 78 years old. I've had my share of the tragedies that people have accumulated over their life. I just lost my wife after 37 years. I'm still screwed up about that. But moving forward, right? Moving forward. That's all you really have to do that makes any sense. Doesn't make sense to go back. You know, what's back? So, you know, trodden ground, you've been there. That way. That way's okay. Over there's okay. Not back. Not back. And I have to listen to my own tutorage here, you know, because I'm in a position where I am right now that slipping back into old and comfortable things would be really easy to do. And while I'm sure it would be great and all the rest of that stuff, I'm absolutely sure I would not be able to continue my mission in life if I allowed that to happen. So I'll do my best to find the best of both worlds, and in the meantime, to move forward. And remember, well, if you're an old person, you may never have heard me before. So what I've been saying for the 50 or so videos that are on this, on YouTube, that are what I call the BHAGWAN show. You know, I explained something to my grandson the other day. I use Hall's cough drops. And the reason I use them is, A, obviously they work. But I'm so enamored with the personal improvement little sayings that they have on the wrappings that I might even use the damn things if they didn't work. Because they've been really helpful for me. Let me explain something to you. Most of you old guys who've settled down, you understand this. Hard to keep pushing. If success doesn't come to you in a reasonably short period of time, most people get really discouraged. And that's understandable. Sometime, if you're a guy like me, you get lucky / cursed to be given lots of lessons because the universe understood that the journey meant nothing in the big picture of things. All that was important was getting me here today in the shape that I'm in. And it's absolutely true for all of you guys too. Now try and take that. I want you to expand your thinking. Try and imagine that every one of us is a ball of energy, which is true, by the way, obviously, that by and large is self-directed and not subscribing to any serious discipline or direction, although some people who have really deep religious beliefs that are tied to procedural stuff may choose to go that route, to gratify those things. But usually we're just balls of energy just kind of floating around, okay? Remember I told you I was a cohesive energy? My job is to help pull all of us together so that the space between us gets smaller and the interaction of loving energies can happen whether you want it to or not. So let's say you take a really douchebag human being. Worthless piece of shit, probably deserves to be exterminated. That nasty of a fuck. And if you disarm him, in case he's that kind of a violent guy so that he can't hurt anybody, or more than likely won't hurt anybody, and put him in a room full of loving people, and no one talks to him, if eye contact happens, they smile and they nod. They recognize him for who he is. You get the right group of people in that room, whatever his problem is, has a real good chance of being eliminated. Not just affected or eliminated. I gotta get new teeth. I'm still working with these $2,000 things that they do, you know, kind of in the office in a couple of days. If I ever get the money, I think the right way to go, especially for someone who talks as much as I do, is to have serious implants, you know, boom, 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 one for each tooth. And those things I think are good for at least 10 or 20 years. We're talking about all you old guys coming from an old guy who's saying to you they have sold you a bill of goods, and as a result you are depriving yourself of your potential as a human being. So first of all, let me make some absolute statements. While it is possible to achieve all levels of spiritual awareness, without training or anything if the right set of circumstances happen. Most people agree that if you're going to get to be good at anything, you're going to have done some practice work. You know, every now and then, I quote things that I don't remember, I'm not conscious of the author. In some of the cases when I got it, first came to me, the author was there, but I might have read it 60 years ago. And only now is it something that I need to share with you. So I don't, it was in one of those magazines that you pick up at the convenience store that has jokes in it and advertising.
Save 3 minutes via State Road 23 South.
So basically
This
it's
route
like
requires tolls.
a virtuoso violinist that just gives a concert. Oh God, it was wonderful, and everybody is just patting him on the back, and this overdressed matronly lady comes up to him and says, "Oh, maestro, maestro."
In 11 miles, take exit 350.
Like
onto State Road 23 South towards Cecil Commerce Center Parkway.
Madam, I did. Only? All right. Instantaneous things happen. The circumstances are extraordinary. One is a near-death experience. Two is a mystical experience triggered by some substance or some occurrence. And then there's all kinds of little things in the middle of that. But what I'm saying to you is, to have one of those, I know everything kind of a thing, you got to have something really serious happen to where it shatters completely who you think you are and accept you are, etc., 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 in favor of a new equation that's totally aware. Yeah, you need to have the top of your head blown off, you know, and then pull it back. So go on the premise that's not something that's going to happen. So now let's deal with the reality of what's available to you from a mystical standpoint. And I'm talking to you old guys. We're all on a continuum. My mother is 102 years old. That's my stepmother. My real mother missed 102 by 34 days. There was a period of time, about a year and a little bit ago, more than about a year and a half, between 2 years and a year and a half ago, when I actually had two living 100-year-old mothers. I don't know how you define the magnitude of that blessing. I know my wife, she'd give anything for an hour with her mom. And she didn't lose her as a kid either. I mean, her mom was probably in her early 70s when she passed. I should know those things, but I don't, because they're not relevant. Okay? Only what happens is relevant. The details are just there for nitpickers. But if you know the details, use them. You see a little shift? No matter how you do it, it's better that you do it than not. The more skills you develop as a human being, and one of those is going to be pride in yourself and your own workmanship. You know, get some personal pride. Some of you guys have no pride at all. How can you tell? But you don't even take out your own garbage. You don't clean your own toilets. I mean, even animals do that shit, guys. Some of you are just terrible. And it reflects on who you are, your whole state of mind. People who are in disarray usually have shit hygiene. Does that mean all of them? No, of course not. There's some girl out there who's in disarray, who's got the best hygiene in the world. But not all of her girlfriends out there are in the same square. One of the things that happens if you're on the street all the time, how do you maintain it? lot of little subtle problems out there that need to be fixed, and actually could be. Actually could be. One of the things we need to look at, you may remember a couple of tapes back, oh, Mr. Gates, you're going to hate me. I kind of put this on Mr. Gates, the notion of helping us come up with a data collection system that will allow we, the collective one. I want you to start embracing this notion of we, the collective one. There's only one thing. It's us. We and us, same thing, different perspective. We are the collective one. To the extent that you're out of sync with that, you impede the achievement of maximum efficiency by the collective one. If we weren't so goddamn inefficient, if we didn't have so many criminals skimming off the top, do I really need to paint a picture every time? You talk to some people, and what's really sad, these are educated people of means and station. Some of you guys, it's like you live with your heads in the sand. That's why I'm always saying, get your head out of the sand. Get your head out of the sand. In the tape previous, I said, see if you can think of something that you could do to substantially improve the world with no effort or little effort, okay? And I said, then some of you would have to get up off your ass. But some of you actually know stuff to such a degree that if you shared it with the world, you would substantially help the world become more, become better, become more complete, become more loving, and you wouldn't even have to put in any work because you already know it. This is all you old guys who know shit. I find it hard to believe that anybody could live to a really substantial age without becoming wise. And yet sometimes we run blatantly into it and say, well, maybe there's exceptions here and there's exceptions there. But by and large, the old people that you run into have had a time when they were on top of it, and then the system, which is doubling knowledge currently at the rate of once a year. How in the hell can you have one job unless you're an artist or a painter or a musician, or an accountant, that could last functionally the same way over time with the equipment being obsoleted with technology? Well, the answer, of course, is you can't. So what's happened over your life, this applies to you young people too, but basically this is going to old people, is if to the extent that you've been aggressively involved in the pursuit of life, you've had either multiple venues where you've tried to apply your trades and your skills, or you've had one or two where you've focused and exercised great diligence and success, and that would kind of explain all you self-made people out there, so much money from your own efforts, hurrah, hurrah. You guys are part of the answer, aren't you? So we jumped over it because this is another group of predominantly old people. My sense is that the young, filthy rich,
in 2 miles, take exit 350 to merge onto State Road 23 south towards Commerce Center Parkway.
People with a more artistic bent that allows them. There's 18-year-old kids who've accumulated $1 billion. How in the hell is that possible? Well, of course, technology is what makes it possible. So that's beyond your comprehension. I'm telling you, if you're an old person, you can't wrap your head around it. It's too much. You started here, it's over here. You missed out on these pieces. So what they've convinced you is that you're too fucking dumb to use this stuff. Buy these little shit phones that do nothing for you other than just, Bill, big buttons, big. You're the most developed senior generation in the history of the world. Some of you haven't done anything functional for the world in decades. You know, I don't care if you play golf or gamble, or none of that matters to the world at large. You have to do what you have to do in order to bring joy into your
Use the right lane to take
make
exit.
you feel good enough about yourself to where you'll say, oh, fuck this, you know what? I'm not going to play golf next Thursday. And I'm going to take that $50 or $100 that I piss away every Thursday and it's good. And it's good. And I'm going to put it in a jar, and every time it's $1,000, I'm going to send it to Bill Gates.
Take the exit, then keep right to merge onto State Road 23 South.
Oh, God.
Keep right to merge onto State Road 23 South.
10 years I've been waiting to drop this on Mr. Gates and on the world. You remember I said earlier that it's very possible, and I would offer you it is.
In 2.3 miles, take exit 351
He's
onto
the most
Chaffee Road.
trustworthy man in the world. And also, this is the good part, a man who's should be above reproach by virtue of his means and his station. I mean, you have to know that a guy who's worth billions upon billions of dollars, who's
In 1.8 miles, take exit
can
351
have
onto Chaffee Road.
anything he wants, like the Buddha, anything he wants. As a result, it makes his choosing of his time, or where he gives his time, very, very important. Because he only has so much of it, and he's the kind of man who affects everything he touches. You know, I promise you, someone could identify the toilet paper he uses, there'd be a rush on that toilet paper. Bill Gates, billionaire, uses our toilet paper. Wouldn't you like to? We can see where that goes, okay? So, what I want us collectively to do
Use the right lane to take exit 351 onto Chaffee Road.
is to identify it within a comfort level to ourselves what we could provide to the system, just like that, in a pinch. Write a check.
Take the exit, then turn left
Whatever.
onto Chaffee Road South.
Drop off pennies. I don't care. The thing is, be in a position to do so.
In a
And
quarter
then
mile,
identify
turn left onto Chaffee Road South.
the form and the shape of that, which then would
At the
allow
light, use
for
the left lane to turn
applicability
onto Chaffee Road
or
South.
applicability to be superimposed on that single resource, so that if someone knew where stuff was needed,
Turn
they would
left.
be able to match the two. And, you know, I was in warehousing for a while. I mean, the technology of matching requirements, I mean, Christ, they're using drones to deliver packages. So you got to know that this stuff is way up. And you know, I drive all the time, and my phone has got the GPS. We talk about the dear GPS lady all the time. That system knows where my car is dead nuts all the time. And you got to know this is just a mimic of the military accuracy. They talk about sometimes being able to put stuff down the stovepipe. It's to the point, why would anybody want to be engaging in activities that could kill you when it's absolutely clear and self-evident that everybody has those weapons? It's not like we got rifles and guns and the rest of the guys are using bows and arrows. Everybody's got rifles and guns. And big contests to make the biggest ones, too. I watch the stuff at night, I tell you. Start watching that stuff. Go to those obscure channels off to the side and you'll learn about the world. And they do top 10 things or top 15 or top 20. And I think this was the top 20 nuclear things that one country or another has at its disposal to aim at.
In 2.8 miles,
some other
turn right
country.
onto Normandy Boulevard.
And these were mostly weapons that were delivered by missile, in various sizes and various ranges, and the weapons are designed to take out, based on their size, certain areas. The vast majority of these weapons, as far as the numbers are concerned, are atomic weapons. They're relatively low yield. But some of them, China, it's pretty much theorized, they have the hands down the biggest weapons. I mean, they were describing this weapon that, you know, you put one here in the middle of the New England states and they all go away from one weapon. So that's obviously a hydrogen bomb. God, the yield's got to be up around 200, 2 million kiloton. Some kind of outrageous number. I'm beginning to think, speaking of hydrogen bombs, they represent the highest form of technology, of course, and seriously scary stuff. So I will share with you my one experience with a hydrogen bomb. I was coming back from Japan in 1962 on board the MSTS ship General Hugh G. Gaffey, or whatever, General Gaffey. She is a military sea transport ship that transports troops and dependents back and forth from these various countries where we have bases with people stationed at, with dependents stationed at. And the Gaffey, which I actually rode on twice, going and coming, she's set up so that there's cabins and even suites as you get all above deck that are occupied by the officers and the dependents that are traveling, and the troops are actually below the waterline.
In 1 mile, turn right onto Normandy Boulevard.
We're in an area that's unbelievable. The racks are 5 high, except for I think there were supposed to be 4 of them in the whole area, where the rack was 6 high. And I'm not sure why that was. But as it turned out, because I'm kind of a stargazer, you know, people like me, you know, I have my head up my ass sometimes because I'm just in awe of what's going on. So by the time when we get there, they say, you guys are going down 17 levels and find a rack. There's no assignment. So by the time I finally got down there, the only thing that was left was a 6th level rack. That's a serious, you gotta climb up to that thing, and the ship is doing that stuff.
At the light, turn right onto Normandy
on the trip
Boulevard.
going over, not an easy journey. We sailed out of San Diego, and 3 days out, we hit 40-foot plus.
In a quarter mile, turn right onto Adams Lake Boulevard.
I think that General Gaffey's like 636 feet or something like that. And she's bouncing around like a crook. And she's diving, actually.
Turn right onto Adams Lake Boulevard. Then turn left onto Carson Lake Drive.
So everybody on board is sick. Even ship's company. God, it was disgusting. I have a really...
In 800 feet,
constant.
turn left onto Carson Lake Drive.
So I was not. I'm eating crackers. You know, they give you saltines to try and keep that stuff kind of packed in there so it doesn't come up. But down where the...
Turn left onto Carson Lake Drive.
We didn't have toilets. You know, they have toilets upstairs. We had troughs. So there was a urinal trough. And the urinal trough was the principal place that people
turn left onto Bryan Lake
during
Drive.
this horrendous storm that we were in the middle of. And after a very little while, you know, it probably stood about that high and it had that much puke in it. And it was actually running as a ship. It would run and slip up over the other side, slip up over this, splash up over.
In a quarter mile, turn
Absolutely-
right onto Tyson Lake Drive.
Absolutely disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. It was so bad, so many people were sick, that I actually had to do a man overboard watch. That's scary shit. Strapped you in a harness. You need it in case someone goes over. I don't know what you do, but it's part of
At the stop
the
sign,
tradition.
turn right onto Tyson Lake
There were not
Drive.
enough ship
Then turn right
company
onto
guys
Rusty
to do it.
Lakes Lane.
So they came down and said, "Hey, you guys not sick?" "Yeah, I'm not sick." "All right, come on. Here's what you got to do." Gave me a crash course. Some big burly sailor walked me out, strapped me in, and said, "All right, kid, you're on your own."
Turn right onto Rusty Lakes Lane.
So,
then
on the
turn
way
left
back,
onto
though,
Bonnie Lakes Court.
They pipe in over the PA system that the United States has just detonated a hydrogen.
In 800 feet,
hydrogen
turn
bomb.
left onto Bonnie Lakes Court.
And if you would like, you could go out on the fantail and see it. Now, this did not mean
At the
that
stop sign,
go out on the
turn left onto
fantail
Bonnie
and
Lakes
that
Court.
sort of thing.
Then the
It
destination
meant that
is on
there's
your
a
right.
gangway around the back of the fantail. That's the back end of the ship, where you could walk from one side of the ship across the back into the other side of the ship. And that's what they let us do in a parade, those of us who wanted to see it. And I have no idea what
The destination is on your
I
right.
know I wanted to see it.
11472 Bonnie Lakes
And
Court.
I was
Arrived.
hoping to see the fire and all that other stuff, you know. Not so much. If this is the horizon, coming off the fantail, it was over there. It was an illuminated but not fireball thing that on the horizon it's like this, like that. It was 720 miles away. I'm a Chicago kid. That's Atlanta. It's possible, and I suppose we could check those dates. I mean, it was mid 1962. That might have been Bikini. But whatever it was, made an impression on me. You know, it's hard to understand and appreciate those kind of things unless you've been blessed enough to have touched them. You know, every time I see a war movie where they drop napalm, I just kind of cringe. For us during the Vietnam War, which was my war, they didn't really. The guys we were fighting just really didn't have napalm that was getting down to where we were anyhow. When I was there, I'm sure that deteriorated as everything fell apart. But I was there in 1967 and early 67 and early 68, January to February, kind of a thing. And on one of those evenings, enemy small arms fire shoot up the undercarriage of an A-4 attack, single engine attack, subsonic attack aircraft. And it pickled his ordnance. And he dropped his napalm on us. Wow. In an instant, I appreciated the horror that all of those innocents over all time had when they looked up and saw this fucking 40-foot high wall of fire. So I'm a warrior, so I'm a trained guy, you know. There's no, oh, I'm afraid. You just look, it's there, it's moving this way, I move this way, perpendicular with great haste. I was good. You can't, you know, you don't hesitate. You make your move first, get out of the way, and then if it turns out you were okay, oh well, okay. But you don't want to wait to the last minute to judge that, because it'll get you. And if it gets you, you won't like it. It got 9 of our guys. It's a weapon we shouldn't allow. A lot of things we shouldn't allow. And it's, can we get more inhumane with each other than burning ourselves alive? And, war, all's fair in love and war, I guess, huh? Not enough people think about it to make a difference. That's why we do it this way. All you old guys, do you understand that collectively, we, old guys and women, we're the problem. We've lost our courage because our body mass is down. We're all beat up with arthritis and all the other things that plague to plague all of us old shits. It's easy for it to take the wind out of you. Say, oh hell, someone else will take care of it. I earned it. I worked hard all my life. Yeah, fucking hell, it's a nice chair, and something to drink or smoke or shoot, whatever you do. I don't care that you do that. You probably need to do that, whatever it is, or you wouldn't do it. But what I would like you to consider is to lighten up a little bit so you can help me. I mean, if you're physically able, well, all kinds of things that you can do to help. Well, I want to come back to this writing letters thing. If you're an older person or a younger person who, for whatever reason, is impaired, you just can't get around to where you can be out cleaning up neighborhoods or whatever the hell it is that you're supposed to be doing, fighting crime, but what you could do is you could be one of those sources of mail. There's gazillions of you, and I understand that this would put a little bit of a financial burden on you, because you got to pay for postage. But I don't want you to send postcards, because they can just identify the receipt of them and throw them away. I want you to put it in an envelope, and on the bottom of the envelope, put a note, response requested. Remember, want to help the post office. So if you guys get serious, what starts to happen is they're getting a lot of piecemeal that they didn't have before. I think there's like 40 million people here in the United States. Yeah, if you guys mailed a letter a day, imagine the mail that it would be. Imagine the pressure that it would put on the politicians and the other luminaries that you might choose to send a letter to. When they tried to keep me in the Marine Corps and they jacked me around right to the end, I was referring to luminaries. I had to finally go in and go toe-to-toe with my colonel. Of course, he threw me out, but nonetheless, because I'm 3 days away from being discharged and I'm still in housing in Hawaii. And they're messing with me because I won't re-enlist. They shipped me from Hawaii without having the adequate amount of time. Thank you, Sergeant Major, for doing that for me, sir. I just wanted to see if I can look that man up. He affected my life. He busted his ass to do something for me because he thought I was the kind of Marine that was worthy of it. Hopefully I'm honoring him by being here. But our job, all of us collectively, is to save the world. So you have to, if you accept that, then you have to say, well, but what can I do? Well, it depends who you are and what you have. What you can consider doing is start 2 things that I don't know any other way to do this. I'm sorry, Mr. Gates. God, I love you. First time I saw you, I said, look at this magic guy, man, saving the world. Saint Bill. There needs to be an independent humanitarian fund that can be tapped into at will, almost whimsically, if you will, to resolve problems in the world. The problem now is there's too much red tape. You got to kiss people's asses to do things. And everybody's walking on eggshells because they're afraid somebody's going to send atomic bombs at them. People aren't going to send atomic bombs at you if you feed people that are starving in their country, even though it'll piss them off. They'll understand it. Weights and measures, balances. Everything in life is about balances. Serious decisions are about balances. Governments don't make stupid-ass decisions. All this fear of each other blowing up, it's not that it's not there, but it's... I mentioned China's got the scariest weapons. Jesus. I mean, destroy a whole section of the country. I'd be interested to know what the megatonnage is, just on GPs. You know, to see. See, now to me, weapon like that has no value other than the destruction of a people. Why would you build weapons? Because war's always been about territorial stuff and acquisitions, and now it seems like it's taking a shift toward, fuck it, we'll just kill all of those guys and fuck their country. Once it stops being radioactive, we'll go in there and harvest it. Because that's what that mentality says is what's going on, right? Big bomb, kill people, go later, get stuff. Sorry for the Russian, half-assed Russian accent. Guys, I needed to be kind of creative for my own edification. It's all the old guys in all those countries that are making those decisions. We collectively, old people, make notoriously half-assed decisions because we only look at the things that we can define and control as reliable inputs. We don't look at what people need, at least not adequately anyhow. And we sure give very little, if any, consideration to mystical energies afoot. So what BHAGWAN is saying is everything's coming to a head. Everything is coming to a head, my God. I'm part of that. You're part of that. You remember I said earlier that as soon as you say, hey, you know who this BHAGWAN guy is, to one of your friends? I would like you to do that to your old friends. I want you guys, here, I promise you, I am a man of such deep convictions that lying to you would never even occur to me. Especially about something that can demonstrate its value simply because it's there. Take that little pee-pee shit cell phone that you have, put it in a drawer, and go to whoever you perceive is the best provider of smartphones within reasonable driving distance of who or where you are, or use the mails if you're in the boondocks, and get yourself a smartphone. It may take you 10 years just to start figuring it. I've had my phone literally since they came out. I mean, we even had a car phone, under the seat. $2,700 a piece. I bought 3 of them. Oh, God. It was wonderful. Nobody had them. Kind of a head thing too, But there was no cell towers. Everything was roaming. My phone bill was hundreds, occasionally touched $1,000, and my wife said, "It's bullshit. You're not on that phone anymore." But it came down. They built more towers, so you weren't roaming all the time. Now you really got to be out in the boondocks to be roaming. I want you to have access to the things that, while they weren't specifically made for you, will benefit you more than anybody else. See, the kids already know this stuff. They grow up. I mean, all you got to do is walk around, go anywhere. Little kids and I got tablets in their lap, and they're making them sing. Back to the notion of how much power exists in these things. All these little minds are being stimulated with equipment that's powerful enough to pretty much take them wherever they want to go. I mean, God, I think that's just awesome. Just awesome. You need to be a part of it. Don't let them paint you as some doddering, stupid old shit, because you're not. When you finish this, put the phone down, go in the bathroom and look at yourself in the mirror. And then suck up your, then look at how you present yourself and then give your best shot. You were going to meet someone you wanted to impress. Well, how would you do it, okay? So it's almost always something different. Some of you are comfortable enough with who you are that it wouldn't be any different, and hooray for you. But then you've got this one covered. You can move on to step 2, whatever you perceive that to be. What I'm trying to instill in you is that you need to remember who you really are. And that's stick your tits out. Hey, world, this is me. I'm 73 years old. I'm a near genius, for Christ's sake, and I've been sitting home watching fucking Oprah and knitting. Stop the killing. Tell everybody you can. Stop the killing. We're at the point, we could actually bring it all to a head kind of nicely, They finally created perhaps enough weapons where that now we should realistically and legitimately start scaling down. Defuse it. I mean, they got to be comfortable. And when you got weapons that can blow up whole sections of a huge country, then you've got your weapons are misdesigned. Someone was nuts when they designed it, and someone else was nuts when they approved it. What do you do with something like that? And then, of course, the whole world is forced to respond in kind. So if they don't have the 854 megaton device, they'll just send 854 20 megaton devices your way, and everybody loses. Some obscure country in South America will become the dominant power in the world. Of course, the world will be just really trashed. It'll survive it, but you won't like it, we won't like it. So it's time for us. See, we're right there. We're right there. We need to, as old people, you have latitudes that young people don't have. The system wants to respect you because you've earned that respect. So maybe you can even push the system hard enough to get something noticed without having the law enforcement come down and bust your head because they think you're some punk. These kids are so advanced. My God, they know so much more than you do. And you know that too, don't you? They don't have the deep stuff because that takes time. You got to have battle scars to get that stuff. You're warriors, you understand that. Young people who get it out of books and video games, not so much. But that doesn't mean they're not getting serious stuff from those things. Here, be with this. If you play video games, some of you spend, oh my God, unbelievable amounts of time playing video games. Just for drill, for a couple of weeks, time yourself. Of course, you got the counters. You probably know how much time a day you spend on video games. If you can buy into the fact that the world could use everybody's help, devise something simple that you could do without making a project out of it, so you could jump right into it, so it wouldn't be wasted time. Like picking up trash in your neighborhood. Once a day, or however, if you play video games 3 times a day, 3 times a week, for 10% of that time, an hour is better, but I'll live with 10% of that time. Shut that thing off, go outside, pick up trash. Talk to your neighbors. Tell them, yeah, you know what? This BHAGWAN guy says we'd all be better off if we picked up the trash. It'll brighten up our attitude about the neighborhood. You know, sometimes I go through neighborhoods and it's all trash. They're beautiful old buildings, but they're 120 years old. You know, like in Chicago, you know, they're architectural wonders, but they're falling apart because they're 120 years old and they weren't built to be 120 years, to last 120 years. And the neighborhoods are run down. But sometimes you'll see where a neighborhood group will get together and they'll resalvage, they'll dress some of these buildings up, and they'll clean the neighborhood up. It's Christ, like you walked into a different world. And it's in the attitude of the people too. They walk a little taller, they stand a little bit with a little more pride, a little more enthusiasm for where they live. Wherever you live, before the day's out, go outside in front of your house with a plastic bag and pick up shit until it's full. Now, if you live in a really nice area, there won't be anything out there at all. And if you pick up a whole bag full, and you ask, you can kind of say to yourself, well, people here don't care. We need to change that. We need to elevate that. That's what we need to do across the board. We need to elevate that. Make it better. Make it better. Make it better. What can you do? What can I do? What can your brother do? Can we collate it? If we collate it, can we send it to Mr. Gates where it might be able to put into some kind of registry where we could access it? And I really think my whole being says that this is right. I think that if you send some money our way to a place that was secure enough to where you could feel good about it. Can you see where we're getting to this most trustworthy guy in the world thing? I don't care if you send $1 or $1,000 or $10 million, and for one of you guys who wants to really throw a wrench in the thing and start some excitement, send me $1 billion. But don't send it to me. You don't know who I am, and my financial record isn't that good. Not that I would cheat you or anything, but I've been a disaster with all the medical stuff we've had and things that have failed. But I'm still here, and I've had a really good time. And I've done some really wonderful things, too. The fact that I can't drape them over my shoulders right now, who cares? It's just baggage. Once you're done with it, it's just baggage. Give it a Goodwill, you know, or Salvation Army or something like that. This is pretty good. Like I said, it's almost an hour, 52 minutes. You guys hold the key. If you got serious for a minute about playing with the idea that the way you have it set up now, we the collective one, the government of our country, of many of the countries of the world, and of the world in total, we're just not doing it as well as it could be done. In some places, we're doing it really bad. In the United States, we have a really, really difficult quandary because it looks like everything is good. Mr. Trump is in power. You know, he is what he is. He's doing the job. A whole lot of people like him, although they tell me that Joe Biden is in some of the polls right now today. I think he's around the 29th or 30th of July. Is actually leading. At this stage, it doesn't matter. We'll see what something significant happens as we get closer to time. Next time, maybe I'll share something with you. We got to see. We need to get some energy going, you know? All you old folks, especially you women, guys aren't into this. Guys go to McDonald's, you go to McDonald's, you sit around, you talk about the shit you used to do and a couple of new things all time. It's good. It's good for your head and your social and all the rest of that stuff. You could be putting the time to better use, but that's up to you. That notion of better use is always up to you. Because maybe just sitting around and doing what you're doing is what you need. That for you is the better use. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out my better use right now, you know? Back to the phone. It is the single vehicle that can open your life up to things that you absolutely need to know because of who you are and your station in this wonderful explosion of mystical energy that's going on all over the world. this thing I'm talking to, if you don't believe that that's a magic box, you're so far out of touch, it's ridiculous. People are going to begin to understand that technology is simply a way that the universe allows us to realize what's available to us. And that maybe in 1,000 years, or maybe not even, maybe in 50 years, we'll be telepathic. We won't need this stuff. But that'll never replace the storage ability. You know, this box is here to stay. And they've done a really good job with it. You can't believe, you know, I was around at the beginning when they were trying to get pictures on big screens, and here they get something this clear. You know, when you look at my thing where it's got all the photos, Christ, you can actually make out the photos, and I think there's like 128 of them in the grid or some nonsense like that. You deserve that. Don't let them tell you that. Oh, you'll never learn how to. You know, guys tell that shit to their wives, their old wives, all the time, because they don't want you girls having free time, which you have, and knowledge available. Men who live in the power, the third center of consciousness, who need to have dominance and domain over everything. Some of you women, you live under a tyrant, man. A guy's been doing your shit for, holding you down for 50 years, but he pays the rent so you tolerate him, you know? You just get him to lighten up. Just tell him, hey, Bill, by the way, Bhagwan says we're not going to do that anymore. He'll probably say, oh, fuck Bhagwan, what does he know? No, more than you, Bill. Because otherwise she wouldn't be telling you that. Embrace informational technology. They got phones out there that cost $1,000 or more. I would think that I would talk to my guy a lot before I sprung for a $1,000 phone, because the things that it's capable of delivering, virtually nobody needs. It's overkill. Okay? This is pretty much a basic phone. There's a lot of places. I live in a metropolitan area, and I have since these guys came out. So there's all kinds of providers for these things. So pricing is reasonable, and a whole lot of the time they will give you a really high quality phone, not the $1,000 one, but the $500 or the $300 one, which does more than most of you will ever need. And they'll just give it to you to use the service, because they want you to be doing it. I want you to be doing it. I want you to be doing it. You know, do you have one of those little things? Most of them you can't watch this. You deserve to be able to watch me. You know, beside the AARP, I'm probably the only guy out here who really gives a shit about whether or not you get the best deal you can possibly get. And you're not. Because they're trying to sell you on being stupid. They're trying to sell you on being so far past your prime that you're worthless to the goddamn system. And that's just such a crock of shit. Makes me want to Ralph. Buy a real phone. Do it right away. Show your husband. Oh, Bill, look what I got. Key to the world. Tell him Bhagwan says hi. Make sure he gets one too, because he deserves it. Oh, maybe he already has one. Shit. Some of you girls put up with stuff. Yeah, my wife would have cut my nuts off decades ago. That's another thing I see. You know, I go into these homes helping these people. Some of you guys are disrespectful to your wives. You know, you stick your dick out when I'm in, you know, to show how tough you are. Yeah, I told you to, you know, you raise your voice, you speak in a demeaning tone, you look down on her. Shame on you. It's the fucking woman you live with. This is the woman you're supposed to love. It's the woman who covers your ass when you fuck up. Treat her with respect, especially when you're around other people. You should be holding that woman up on a pedestal. This is my wife. Serve her, please. Don't be an asshole. We're coming after all you assholes. You know what? I'm sick of it. I just can't stand to see some of you people do some of the stuff you do, which is in complete disrespect for everybody else around you. That's all I'm saying. The world should not tolerate complete disrespect in favor of you doing what the fuck you want. Because a lot of you guys who do what the fuck you want are, you know, if this is the spectrum of assholes, you know, oh, not so much over here, oh, way over here. Yeah, you guys are all way over here. How hard is it to correct that? Like that. Nothing. Just stop. Just realize, I've been an asshole because I'm angry. I'm angry because my dad fucked me in the ass when I was 2. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. What matters is what's now. If you're angry, talk to somebody. You got a specific problem? Send me a note in comments. I'll give you my answer, and you can go shopping around, see if it's a good answer. But just accept the fact there is an answer. You have to be willing to embrace it. For a lot of you, that's going to be the test, you know. Do I embrace this new stuff, this stuff that says we should all be conscious and considerate of everybody else? Everybody else? Even those fucking whatever they are? And all you old people who are still racist, bigoted, all those things, why is that true? Why do you do that? I would have thought that life would have taught you that everything is precious. And yet you harbor, I mean, I see it. Jesus Christ, you know. Who violated you? You almost have to, when you see that kind of anger, you almost expect that it has to go back to some kind of a personal thing that was done to you, some huge, unspeakable thing that was done to you. And so often it isn't. It's just rhetoric shit that you learned from your family. You need to defend yourself against that. You need to say, for whatever reason it is, those guys are fucked up. It's just life. Doesn't make them good guys or bad guys, but for you, toward you, makes them fucked up. You do what they do, your life is not good. You perpetuate all the things that are not good in life. Anger, hate, violence, all that stuff. Okay? So we collectively, our job, fix it. We need you old people. We need you guys to say, why in the hell would we let those fucking kids tell us what to do? Who put them in charge? I sure as shit didn't. I know you love your close community because they're so secure. And I don't want you to run away from home. But reach out and stretch. Try and see more of the world. And if you're fat, dumb, and happy, that's fine. We're going to make it without you. But not as well. Not as fast. Not as cleanly. It's actually you. All the rest of them are just waiting for you. You know what? Next time you have everybody home for dinner, just ask. And you guys know about this American Buddha, this BHAGWAN guy? And one or two things will happen. They'll all say no. Or someone will. Or maybe several will. And then encourage a spirited dialogue. People will come to Grandma and Grandpa's house. Grandma and Grandpa have a great deal of influence over all of the people in a family structure. Exercise it for the good of the world, for the good of humanity, for your own good. You know, be with the idea if it's better for those guys, it's better for you. The world works like that. It understands if you help me be better, I'll help you be better. Okay? But mostly old guys, old girls. Expand what you do. Put more energy into your life. Start doing things that none of your friends are doing. You say, Tom, I want to go out and do something. And he'll say, well, dear, what would you like to do? And you'll say, well, dear, no, you go ahead and you pick. And if he picks something that you don't want to do, don't do it. Do something different. Do something new. Do something that will give you a new point of conversation. What we want to do is slowly light fires under your ass to where you start saying, all right, what else can we do? By the way, Jesus, we got 4 hours. What else can we do? Step away from the fucking television. It's hard, isn't it? They got so much good stuff on TV, it's disgusting. Oh, God. And we're watching a Santa Carlito diet or something like that right now. It's Drew Barrymore and he's Raylan Jennings in the sheriff's show. Why do I have Oliphant? Timothy Oliphant is Drew Barrymore and Timothy Oliphant are the husband and wife realtors. It's got the right level of macabre that I get a chuckle out of it. So anyhow, I'm done. I think old guys, I'm just reaching out to you to say stop being an old guy. Pump yourself up. So I'm going to be doing this to help. I'm 78. I'm not in the best of health. I'm not in the worst of health. My lungs are my biggest problem. I've already decided I'm going to have operations to cure the joints. I mean, we have the ability to be bionic. Why wouldn't I? Theoretically, it'll eliminate the pain I live with every day. To me, it's a no-brainer. But we'll see. I still have to meet with the doctors. I'm attending a seminar tomorrow night on the new technologies available for that stuff. So, old people, you're in a lot of pain. Investigate to the best of your ability, and your sons and your daughters, because they know how to go online and search this stuff out if you don't. Investigate what might be available to you if you suffer. Whatever you suffer, investigate it. So here's an interesting thing. Maybe you'd like to spend a day with a Buddha. I've been thinking about this. Some of you are really close to a hard, no-nonsense day with someone like me. Could very well be the transformative step that you need to take to move you into a new dimension of consciousness. Express a desire in comments, and I'll see what we might be able to do. I really have. Guys like me always are able to accomplish large amounts of things because we take you to places where your comfort's not there. And once you let go of that, then a new comfort comes, and a new comfort's always greater. Everything you should be doing is to make you greater. This person over here needs your help. You're not great enough to help them yet. You need to get 6 more levels of great. And now, who you are, now the great you, will be in a position to help that person who, for 5 more levels of awareness, you won't be able to get to. You won't even know that they exist. That's a part of awareness, when you can see 6 centers out. I was playing chess in a chess tournament. Little kid sits across 12, right? I think I'm 45. He says, "You're deeds, huh?" I says, "Yeah." He says, "You beat my dad 2 games ago." I said, "Oh, I'm sorry about that." I says, he says, "Yeah, I know." He says, "You're not going to find me so easy." And this kid, I hear someone in the background say, "Oh, he's actually almost an expert. He just hasn't got enough points under his belt to be officially rated." just went through me like I wasn't there. And he makes this move, and he looks at his other 12-year-old chess genius buddy who's standing there with him. He's like, "I got him in 6. And they both titter. Wanted to smote him, but he had me in 6. That's the kind of foresight I would like you to have in everything you do. I'm going to finish the story I started telling everybody about the movie called The Fifth Element. I was talking about awareness. that we miss so much, that most of us are so stuck in our own brains that we just don't have time to get out. We don't open our eyes. We don't listen with our ears. We don't rely on our sense of touch, put gloves and stuff on, you know. Everything done to keep inputs out. There's a sequence in this movie, basically, it's a wild and crazy, spectacular film, you know. The stones that can save the universe are here, and they're part of the problem that needs to be rectified so that they can save the universe from the rogue planet coming in. Bruce Willis is the hero, and these alien bad guys with bombs and stuff are holding hostages in the room. And all the staff from this luxury floating casino that they're on are outside the door of the room where these guys are there with the hostages. And Bruce Willis comes up, and he's obviously taking charge of this whole operation, which he does really well in his movies. I like his movies. He says, what's going on? And they say, well, we don't know, we haven't been in there, but they're waiting for a negotiator. And imagine, you know, he's here talking to the guys, and here's the doorway. He goes, he snogs at the two in the front. In other words, in that moment, I'm not saying he was actually able to do that. If he was, all the more power to you, sir, because that's an accomplishment. What he implied that he had the ability to do was at a single glance identify all the parameters in the room. Picture. Drop back. Start doing that. Start seeing life like that. Open. Go. You can do it with license plates on cars, signs. Start practicing seeing it and knowing it. You'll be doing that all your life. Like the exercises in the car. Next time I do something, I'll see if I can show you. I was going to do it today, but I got sidetracked. Always try to be doing as many things as you can at the same time, unless the thing that you're doing requires absolute focus. And if that's the case, then give it the absolute focus. Different people see different things. Like there's a lot of people say, what I'm doing is nonsense. I'm fucking flapping around while I'm driving. But if you were to look, oh God, right down there, you can see them. Where the hell is it? Then my leg is locked into the steering wheel. And that keeps the wheel from getting away from me, and also keeps me stable if I feel a need to wave around. I'm sitting. I've been in my driveway now for about the last 10 minutes. I want to finish this. Oh, it's already an hour and 12 minutes. So I obviously wanted to talk to you guys a lot. You guys, collectively, old people, have the ability to cause a readily identifiable shift in the consciousness of we, the collective one. If the consciousness shifts, now the view of the world will be different. If you're here, this is your line of sight. If you're here, this is your line of sight. If you're here, this is your line of sight. That's why, when possible, you'd like to have as many line of sights as you can acquire to give you a more complete picture of the thing. By the time you start looking for three-dimensional things, you got multiple cameras or opportunities of view. Now you can create that little side game by shifting where you put your point of reference. In other words, if you start playing these games, next time you walk into a room and see a clock on the wall, try and imagine that that's where your consciousness is resident, and then continue to move through the thing. In other words, don't be here looking out, be up there looking down. It'll take you a little while to do it, but one day, oh, you'll go, whoa, what the fuck? And you'll have the whole damn thing in your view. Your mind's so powerful, you only have to see them once before you can wrap the 3D stuff necessary around them to create that image. And now you can watch the body language. I think I told you a story once. I'll tell it to you again since we're doing it because it's directly related. Then I'm going to be done. I want to get a bite to eat. I got another call. Are you kidding me? I stopped. I should have stopped. Oh, I'm sorry. I guess that's enough.